Gabrielle Allman, and I'm going to go over the phonemic awareness strategies. I chose to do blending strategies. Blending strategies can be identified as morphing syllables together to create a word. This is a joint effort because blending and segmenting often go hand in hand. An example that the book gave was, put this word together, kangaroo, kangaroo. It is spaced out, which allows students to identify the main phonemes and syllables within each segment, and incorporate blending strategies allows the students to place each phoneme together to create a word. Combining individual sounds to form a word would be C-A-T, cat. Why should this be used? Teaching students to identify and manipulate the sounds in words, which is phonemic awareness, helps build the foundation for phonics instruction. This was from Reading Rockets. Blending strategies teach students the first steps of decoding words and discover sentence meaning. This developed their phonemic awareness and also assists students with literacy delay. Phonological awareness. Phonological awareness, as stated by Motes, refers to a metalinguistic facility with word-spoken analysis. This concept can be further divided into phonological sensitivity and phoneme awareness. That was from page 66. Phonological sensitivity and phoneme awareness refers to the building blocks of language as a whole, incorporating the ability for an individual student to mentally process and manipulate, identify, and deepen thinking. The grade level that I've chosen is the first grade level in a general educational classroom. Students' age would range from 6 to 7 years of age, and students in this age and grade are usually learning to decode words, read simple text materials, and create basic sentence structure. Students can demonstrate blending strategies by first breaking words into syllables. C-A-T, cat. The teacher displays syllables spaced out on the whiteboard for the class to see. Students copy these syllables down and say them out loud. The second step would be blending the syllables together. Students slowly blend the syllables together to follow along with the teacher's instruction. This would be scaffolding modeling instruction. The third step would be repeating the word. The students and the teacher say the word back and forth and take turns. The fourth step would be writing and saying the word as a whole. Students would be able to say the word as a whole individually and be able to copy down the syllables on paper and spell the word. Activities to incorporate for phonemic awareness for blending and segmenting games allows students to have a stronger reading and writing achievement. What activities can be used to incorporate this strategy? Utilizing word tiles to spell words, letter lineup games, which would mean students get a card with letters on them, say the sound out loud when called on, and work together to form a word. Syllable identification games like cat, C-A-T. Soundbox games, students put a visual or print into a box for each sound that it correlates. Blending bingo, sounds are expressed orally for students to blend and find correlating images on their paper or a page in front of them. I spy using sound talk, which would mean the teacher says, I spy something R-E-D, red, and the students would copy out loud by saying R-E-D, red. And the next step for them would be to follow and find red objects in the classroom. I chose to do blending bingo for the activity. The students would get a piece of lined paper to write their answers and their words on. I would begin the class by reviewing what words are made up of, syllables. I would list off examples to the students. N-O is no, A-M is am, I-N is in. I would explain the activity of the class is blending bingo. I would hand out bingo cards that have images of 3 phoneme words. I would instruct the students to sit in groups of 4. I would call out words that include 3 phonemes, and the students would match it to an image on their bingo card. Students will repeat the word said by the teacher and mark their cards. The first students to get 5 in a row on their cards win. This is an example sheet of 3 phoneme words and correlating images. So, for example, I would say cat, C-A-T, cat. Students would find the correlating image on their page and mark it with a highlighter or a coin, and then I would move on. The second activity that I chose for this strategy was I Spy with Sound Talk. I would introduce the lesson activity and explain the roles and objectives. I would give the students lined paper to write their answers out on. Students would be given paper to write their guesses or the first letter of their guesses. The teacher will say, I spy something, B-L-U-E, blue. The students would follow along by saying B-L-U-E, blue. Students will write B-L-U-E on the lined paper, and then they would work together in groups of 3 to 4 to find blue objects around the room and raise hands for guesses to the teacher to call on. This would continue for twice as many groups that are formed in class. The students would be able to check, color, or write the words that they found on the right-hand side of their sheet. For example, if I said, I spy something, B-L-U-E, and it was on the right-hand side of this paper, a cloud or a sky scene would be able to be filled in. After students are done pointing and finding the words, they can take their I Spy sheets and color them when the activity is done if there is time after class. The overarching goals for this lesson was to incorporate blending strategies for students to be able to pull apart and put together syllables to create words and also match words to pictures. How will the students be gaining phonemic awareness through these activities? By developing and understanding letters and letter sounds within a sentence and lesson activity. When will they be able to demonstrate this? When reading books in class, writing small sentences, homework, and by the end of the lesson and activity, and throughout other classroom sessions. These are my works cited. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.